Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some news coming out from Germany. We have a report as of yesterday that Emmanuel Macron, the French president right here in the photo, he met in Germany with Olaf Scholz, the German chancellor, and they both held a conference meeting. Now, during this conference, they were speaking to reporters about this war in Ukraine, and there's been a really big topic lately about whether Ukraine should be able to strike targets inside Russian territory, and this is a really big problem for them because they can't. They're right now they're not able to strike back inside of Russia using Western supplied weapons. They don't have their permission to do this. So Russia's just setting up along the border of Ukraine and firing inside of Ukraine and getting by with this unscathed, okay? Because Ukraine cannot fire back inside of Russian territory. So all they can do is sit back and try to shoot down all these missiles or artillery or whatever it is. Um, they can't obviously defend themselves completely due to the fact that they cannot strike inside of Russian territory. Now, this is really big talk right now. We're starting to see a lot of countries come out and garner support for Ukraine to allow them to do this. And the biggest supporter is obviously the United States. And the United States is slowly starting to move in that direction, but we haven't heard an official announcement as of yet whether Ukraine will be able to do this. So I've got some things we're going to be going over here talking about this. I also have a video for you showing the actual conference when Emmanuel Macron was actually making this announcement stating that Ukraine should be able to strike inside Russian territory. So I've got an article here first to go over with you. This is on Le Monde. I think this is like a French news outlet. It says Macron, Ukraine should be allowed to neutralize Russian military bases. On a state visit to Germany, the French president stressed that we should not allow them to touch other targets in Russia and obviously civilian capacities. So he was stating here as well, that was another thing, that they don't want to allow Ukraine to obviously strike civilian targets. I mean, that wouldn't make sense anyway. It's obviously not a military target. But they want to at least allow them to go after, where they're launching these missiles from, air bases, whatever it might be. And Ukraine has a pretty significant advantage now that they've been given longer range cruise missiles, or ballistic missiles, excuse me, the ATACMS. And it allows them to strike, several hundred kilometers inside of Russia. So they can definitely hit a lot of these targets that where Russia's striking Ukraine from inside of Russia. They can easily start hitting these targets and taking them out. And that's what Emmanuel Macron's going to be bringing up here. So it says Kiev should be allowed to neutralize Russian military bases from where Moscow troops are firing missiles into Ukraine. France's President Emmanuel Macron said on Tuesday, May 28th, "We think that we should allow them to neutralize military sites where missiles are fired from, where Ukraine is attacked," said Macron. He stressed, however, that we should not allow them to touch other targets in Russia and obviously civilian capacities. His comments on a state visit to Germany during a press conference alongside Chancellor Olaf Scholz come as calls grow to allow Ukraine to strike inside Russia using Western supplied longer range weapons. But the issue has divided Kiev's allies. Germany has been reluctant to permit Ukraine to strike over the border, fearing it could lead to a direct conflict with nuclear-armed Moscow. United States, Ukraine's biggest supplier of military aid, has also taken a similar stance. So that's a big problem right now, and we're going to be doing a video later about Russia, Vladimir Putin coming out and saying that if the U.S. or any Western allies start striking inside of Russia, that this is going to be major escalation, and basically warning that they'll be using nuclear weapons. And we know right now Russia has been doing tactical nuclear war drills on the border of Ukraine. So, Russia is preparing for a nuclear strike on another country right now, okay? Well, like I said, we'll talk more about that today, but they're making a lot of statements saying that, they're going to start attacking other countries with nukes if this thing really starts moving this direction where Ukraine can start striking inside Russian territory. So that's obviously the big problem here, and that's why a lot of countries are not willing to allow Ukraine to start striking inside Russia. But like I said, the support is building up, and pretty soon I think we might start seeing this happening. And at the same time, this is only going to cause more more tension and get us closer to an inevitable conflict with NATO and potentially nuclear war. So this is obviously very dangerous what's happening here. But at the same time, I do agree. I think Ukraine should be able to defend themselves and go after Russian targets if that's where they're launching these missiles from. They're using this policy by the U.S. and other allies for Ukraine not to be able to strike into Russia. That's why they're firing, from inside Russian territory. So, I think Ukraine should be able to strike back and take out these targets to defend themselves. But we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that. So now I've got this video we're going to be going over here. This is going to be a quick 44-second clip of Emmanuel Macron. He's going to be showing like a little map here of how Ukraine needs to be able to strike inside of Russian territory and showing his support for that. So let's take a look at this.
Montre le sol ukrainien, oui, est attaqué de fait depuis des bases et qui sont en Russie. Alors comment on explique aux Ukrainiens qu'il va falloir protéger ces villes et au fond tout ce qu'on voit en ce moment autour de Kharkiv si on leur dit vous n'avez pas le droit d'atteindre le point d'où sont tirés les missiles? En fait, on leur dit on vous livre des armes mais vous ne pouvez pas vous défendre. Donc nous on reste exactement dans le même cadre. On pense qu'on doit leur permettre de neutraliser les sites militaires d'où sont tirés les missiles, et au fond les sites militaires depuis lesquels l'Ukraine est agressée, mais on ne doit pas permettre de toucher d'autres cibles en Russie, et évidemment des capacités civiles ou d'autres cibles militaires. Montre le sol ukrainien.
So I know the captions are moving very quickly there. He's obviously speaking very fast, but he's basically stating here that we should allow Ukraine to neutralize targets inside Russian territory. Of course, not allow them go after civilian targets or civilian areas, but definitely wherever they're firing these missiles from, any military targets, they should be able to go after them. And he's saying that we should just give them these weapons and allow them to defend themselves as they please. And I'll tell you right now, there's lots of countries that are coming out and starting to do this. Poland just announced the same thing in the last 24 hours. We even have Finland coming out and starting to say that too. So, like I said, even the U.S. is starting to move this direction. I think it was Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State. He was caught on camera just the other day stating that he would support Ukraine's right to allow them to strike inside Russian territory as well. So this thing is moving forward pretty quick. And again, it's very dangerous. I want Ukraine to be able to defend themselves. Don't get me wrong, but this is very dangerous because Russia is obviously a nuclear power, and they're not going to be okay with this, with the West using weapons, giving them to Ukraine, and then striking inside of Russia. This is basically the West striking Russia, and Putin will not be okay with that, and they won't allow it, I don't believe. And if they do, I don't think they'll allow it for very long. And this could definitely lead to some sort of nuclear event, a nuclear strike on a country. And like I said, I'll talk more about that in another video. And it's getting crazy, guys, getting very dangerous. We're getting to a point here where this war is going to change, and I've been telling all of you that for quite a while now. We're getting very, very close. Something big is going to happen, and something's going to change, and this is not going to be the same stagnant war that we've been seeing for the last 2 years. There's going to be a major shift, and hopefully that shift is not nuclear, and hopefully that shift is not NATO engaging with Russia, because that could be where we're heading next. Let me know what you think down below. Hit that notification bell if you enjoyed this update. And also subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. And don't forget to hit the like button on the video on your way out. I want to thank you again so much for tuning in. Hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.